right, Dave. Well, no, we got Mark coming back in here at the end here in a second, and we've got some good stuff to go through here because it's been a
Yeah.
full day. Just that last session was full in and of itself, and I look forward to taking a look at everything that we've gone through today. So we're gonna do I feel like a little riff back and forth, just sharing some of our quick takes on these as we wrap people up to get them ready for day 2 of the summit. And I think it's very appropriate that you're first on the list as we get into this conversation. So once we see Mark here, we'll dive into that one.
Yep.
I should be here, Chris.
Excellent. I can't see you, but I can hear you. So we'll roll with that. We'll pretend it's a podcast like a radio show here. So, well, I want to feed these up to each of you as we go through to provide a little summary here for the audience. So, first takeaway from the day is machine learning is no longer science fiction, and that comes from none other than Dave Moran. So, Dave, do you want to expand on that one for a minute here?
Yeah. I think with just the knowledge and people that are getting exposed to it, something like ChatGPT even, or before that once you start talking about machine learning, it's really math. I mean, that's all we're talking about here. So it's something that I'm seeing more customers talk about and building models. So it's no longer, can we use ML to improve? It's more of we have this model now. We want to, we want to scale it. We want to ingest data. We want to make that automated. How do we do that? Kind of thing. And, ChatGPT, I think just the exposure of that and BARD and all the other platforms that are out there and these large language models that people are getting either much more comfortable with it or exposed to it. And it's not this kind of futuristic, 2001 Space Odyssey reference for anybody over 50 out there that, it's really happening. And it's going to be happening quicker, faster and faster. So it's kind of get on board. I heard somebody talk about that earlier, or are you going to be around in 2060? Well, you better start looking at that.
Yeah, Mark, what are your thoughts on it? We asked the individual who was quoted on this one. I want to hear what you have to say here.
Well, I work with him, so I'm going to back him up.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem, Dave. But no, he's right. I think the challenge is what data and can I get it, and how do I get creative in getting that data, right? So machine learning is here, but you have to have the data behind it, and you have to have the right data. It has to be clean data. It has to be contextualized data. And Dave preaches that every single day. You have to have the context. So if you can get the context, you'll get good machine learning algorithms. And the people who can tell you what context you need the most, again, go back to the shop floor workers, they're probably the ones who can give you the best insight for that. So this is where things really start to join up with the data you need, but the people who can inform the insights of what that data might look like around the process.
So let's talk about this next takeaway here, because it says democratize your data. This one comes from John. I wholeheartedly agree. We hear this term come up sometimes in industry. So Mark, maybe you dissect this a little bit for us. What does it mean to democratize your data?
Well, I think it means a couple of things. One, obviously, put the data in the hands of everybody. So anybody who needs it, give them the data. But I think the second piece is really allowing those people to work with the data on their own terms as well. A lot of times you see, I'll go back to the production systems, your Mez and your SCADA, they're great, right? But they don't give the full picture, and that's where we'll get into it tomorrow. I think the shadow IT comes in, but making that data that's being used in the corporate systems available in a very personal way to the operators on the shop floor, so they can solve their own problems and kind of own their own process. When you do that, you make them part of the team, and they can solve a lot of things on their own, and they'll do that work without kind of being harassed to do it. So if you can enable them with that data and give them the tool sets that are secure and manageable, I think you get great results on the shop floor.
Excellent. Dave, what would you add to this?
I think it's, it really is about just getting, allowing people to get access to the data to do their job, like the shadow IT that Marc talked about, but basically getting, making it easy for people to get access to that data to do their job, whatever that is, and not basically, locking it away in some historian or locking it away in some other vault that people can't get to, or even if they don't lock it, at least making it easier to get to the data. So that's the way I look at it. It's not just, giving access to somebody, but giving access to the data that is helpful to them, whether it's context or whatever else you need to do with the data.
So our next takeaway here, building solution is a collaborative process. That came from Sean at Tulip. Dave, Marc, I'd love to hear you both riff on this one for a little bit.
Yeah, I can start. We talk about, I've been in situations where, they're not letting IT into the conversation early enough, and then they come up with a solution, and then all of a sudden IT shuts it down immediately. Like I've run into that where it just closes it off. So like I said, just bringing those people in to the conversation earlier is really just helpful. It's critical in my opinion. The other part of it is, don't just do, IoT or digital transformation for technology's sake, right? I run into those cases where somebody's just like, I want to get data from a PLC, I want to push it to cloud, with no thinking about what use case you're really trying to solve, what problem you're trying to solve. So we deal with that on proof of concept. So I'm always trying to help people get the stakeholders in the room. So get IT in the room, get the business commercial side in the room, get the controls engineers in the room, get the people that are going to be involved through this project in the room early on to help talk about how you can, solve this problem that they're doing and have value associated to it, right? Just don't like I said, don't just use technology for technology's sake.
Great
Marc?
lessons across the board. And I know, Marc, you were going to jump in there as well to start, so I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, there's no thunder here. Just adding on to what Dave's talking about, but you have to have all of the right people in the room, and it's the people that you miss in building that solution are the ones who could be your naysayers or could be the people who aren't supporting it, and you want to build a coalition of success, which is getting all of these stakeholders, all the people who are going to be affected by whatever you're doing. Tell them the why. Why are we doing this? Why are we so interested in the data? This isn't going to affect your job in a negative way. You're not going to be let go. This is to supplement how well you can do your work and hopefully reduce stress day in, day out.
Well, let's keep rolling on that, because I think it ties in with our fourth takeaway. And I love the way that Andrew Crow phrased this. Start using data to develop your bench. So, Marc, I feel like we were kind of on that train of thought there already. So let's talk about just continuing to get the whole workforce involved in this.
Yeah, it was kind of the theme at the very start, where getting people more, I guess, ownership of their process, getting them involved with the data, making them higher skilled, which then kind of, they will get paid better, which drives retention, which drives enthusiasm, which drives better product, which drives better everything, right? So it's really using the data, finding the people who want to work with the data, because that helps build the right culture as well, right? So it's not enough to have just people. You want the right people who are excited about some of the change that data may bring, but they also feel part of that change and not on the outside looking in. So that's the bench you want, because that bench will then be looking for the next thing, and that's what companies need to do to really take it to the next level.
Dave, and what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think building that bench, like Mark said, getting the right people involved with it and having them excited about, working with the data and using the data and solving problems is key to creating that bench. And you need all walks of life on that. You need the experienced subject matter expert on it that knows the process. You need the IT person that can handle all the data flows and pathways and setting up cloud, and you need the controls person to say, okay, I know where this data is, those kinds of things. So it's, you can really set up a bench with those skill sets. And it may be a couple people or one person has multiple skills in that, but it does help you understand what it is. And I think Jason referred to that a little bit earlier, is having those vetted architectures kind of would help you actually define who needs to be involved with the project. Because you can look at that and say, okay, I need IT, I need a controls person, I need a data scientist, those kind of things.
All right, we are at the last bullet on our top 5 as we wrap the day, and it's, hey, what else did we hear, right? And I'll just reflect on the last session really quickly, because Dave, Mark, I've been having you lead off all these, but I feel like if I look back at everything we talked about during that last conversation around the tech stack and what's next, it's, hey, you got to be focusing on the use case at hand. And then even further than that, we talk about creating architectures based on outcomes. So that was one thing I heard from start to finish in that conversation from everyone involved, and how to do it securely. That was one of my major takeaways from the day. Since we've kept it open-ended, Mark, maybe you lead us off on this. What's one other takeaway that you pulled from today that maybe wasn't captured here yet?
Well, I think obviously the people are the most important piece of this whole puzzle, right? You have to have the right people. They will help you get the data. They will allow you to work with the data, and they will drive the change with that data. So involve the right people, communicate what you want to do, choose wisely, and start small.
Excellent. And then Dave, take us home before we get people pumped up for tomorrow.
Yeah. One thing that the takeaway we really didn't cover, Jason was talking about how he's very AI, a proponent of AI, and I remember having a conversation with ChatGPT came out and having conversations where this is going to change how we implement things. You're going to be able to go to a SCADA system or go to ChatGPT and say, hey, build me a SCADA screen that does this, and it's going to change how things are done. And my response to that was, well, if AI is really running your factory, you don't need that anymore, right? You don't need to store the data. You don't need to do that. You're just feeding this system data to solve it. I think we're a long way away from that to actually get there. But I think that's one of the takeaways that I had that we didn't really cover is how's that going to influence the manufacturing space completely, in the long term.
Yeah, but good to be thinking ahead to the long term. I do like that we've taken some things that are an immediate focus here for us, but also thinking about what do I need to be doing down the line. I mean, you threw out the year 2060 as well, so it's going to come sooner than we think.
Yeah, it is.
But in that spirit, that's a wrap for today. So tomorrow gets kicked off again at 10:30 Eastern as well, with sessions around contextualization and growth and shadow IT. Dave, anything you want to share as people look forward to tomorrow?
No, just looking forward to it. Great conversations today. Looking forward to tomorrow as well, and hoping everybody got something out of this today as well. Mark?
Yeah, same here. I learned a lot. I love the perspectives of the different customers and suppliers that we had on board today. So same thing for tomorrow. Another great crew, and looking forward to learning again.
Absolutely. It's fun coming into these sessions to dig a little deeper than just some of the high level trends that are taking place. So really a round of applause to everyone that's been involved today. And Dave and Mark, thank you for taking things home with us. And everyone, we look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Bye, everybody.